Hello. Woo! We made it. Yes. What is up, guys? It's me, your host, Matt Latham, board certified master arborist, and welcome to Ask an Arborist. This is our 11th episode. We have been rocking and rolling, and I don't even know how many hundreds of questions we've answered about your trees. And y'all, we're having a great time doing this. So I'm glad you've joined me. Do me a favor while you're at it. If you could hit that like and subscribe and go ahead and share this out to your Facebook group, to your Instagram, whatever you happen to be watching on, LinkedIn, YouTube, that would really help us get the word out. We're actually doing this once a week. And like I said, we've been just crushing it. Humble opinion. I'm a little biased, of course, but just that really helps us out to get the word out. And we're trying to grow this channel both on the Facebook group, on our Arborist On Demand page, and on our YouTube channel, and on LinkedIn, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And bears oh my, because quite frankly, we got a message, and that's that trees are good, y'all. Trees are good for humans. They are very beneficial in our lives in so many ways. I was talking with a lady today, and her neighbor, we believe, came in and sprayed herbicide out of spite to destroy her trees, and she's just crushed, heartbroken. I'm looking at the text right now, and she's just, it's like her backyard is destroyed. Like they may as well have come in and just lit a fire in her backyard and just burned it all to the ground because she's devastated. And so we're working on that one on a litigation basis. But, trees are important in our lives, and not just from we need to breathe oxygen standpoint. That's important too. We build our houses out of, guess what? All your fancy avocados, they come from a tree. All your citrus fruits, apples, bananas, like all these things come from trees. But not only that, like trees, it is known in a absolute fact that trees are good for humans. Being around them improves mental health, decreases depression, even crime rates go down in a neighborhood with mature trees. And cancer patients recover faster and more frequently when they have a windowed view. That's all. They just look at trees and they recover more frequently and more rapidly from cancer. And so trees are so, thank you, Lucas. Trees are so important for humans. By the way, I got my right-hand man, Lucas de la Vega, in my ear here. He's helping guide me and keep things organized for you guys. So every time we answer one of your questions, he's going to actually tag you personally, unless you came on here and posted anonymously, and link the time. That way you could just click right on the button and go view the video so you can get your answers right there. So if you happen to miss this live stream, sorry, we'd love to have you here with us live, but we know we all have lives and careers and families. Oh my, and so I understand completely. So thank God for Lucas. He's here helping us out. Make sure that you get the right time frame. So if you would just go back, if you missed us, and go back, click on that link, and that'll give you right to the time frame and right to the video, and just click on the time frame and go find your answer to your personal tree question. So huge news, guys. I can't even believe it. We are already on episode 11. So thank y'all for being here live or catching the replay, whatever you're doing. We've got a lot to go through tonight. Some big updates, some fun announcements, of course, plenty of time for your tree questions. But first off, huge news. This is unbelievable. This group is at 998 members. We are right on the threshold, right? Just takes a little breath to push us over the edge for that 1,000 members. That's crazy. Like a few months ago, we were like less than 100. And we're just a small little crew geeking out about mulch and fungal pathogens. And now we've got almost 1,000 tree-loving humans helping each other out, learning, building a real community. And y'all, it's been unbelievable to me to see a lot of real, true professionals. These are guys that I look up to, even some of them, and coming on here and answering your tree questions. So I really feel like we're building a really, really unique community, and I'm glad you're a part of it. And thanks so much for being here. To celebrate, we wanted to give away some cool stuff, and I mean like real prizes. And essentially what we need is we put a little post out there. Let's see, hold on. Let me get to it here. There it is. Craziest things happening, guys. So here's the post. Is basically we're right on the cusp of 1,000 members. So what we wanted to do is offer a couple of grand prizes. The first prize is going to get a full-on 30-minute digital arborist consultation with me. It's normally about $180. The second place, we're going to give you a tree health starter kit. That includes a bottle of Microlife Super Seaweed or organic fertilizer, moisture meter, and a handful of other things as well. In third place, we'll give you a whole bottle of the Microlife Super Seaweed as well. This is a really, really great root stimulant and just overall health boost item. So it's a great product. Microlife, I don't get paid on them to boost them, but I love these guys because they're right here in my backyard, and it is 22 years doing tree care. They're my favorite product so far. So low nitrogen, you're not going to burn anything. You can spray it right on the leaves, but go ahead and hit that like button, hit the share button. Here's how you earn a couple of entries. I just posted it right here on the post. Go check it out. It's on the pinned post here. But if you like the post, you're going to get a like. You're going to get one entry. If you comment with a photo of your favorite tree and why you love it, you're going to get 2 entries. If you tag a friend, you can get up to 3. We're doing limit of 3, but each friend you tag to come join this page, you're going to get an extra entry. And then, of course, if you share this group, especially to your personal timeline or to a local Facebook community group or something like that, that would really help us out a lot. And just make sure to give us a little evidence. And of course, go on over to our YouTube channel at Arborist on Demand. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. And we're pumping out good content, at least I think, humble opinion. I'm a little biased here, of course. Whoa, what happened there? That's not normal. But just look up Arborist on Demand on YouTube, and that'll send you right to our page. It looks like Lucas is posting the links here as well. So love to have you guys. It's all live, pinned to the post or pinned right here to the front page, and you can see it right here. So we'd love to have you guys. Oh, it looks like he commented. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Lucas. It's only sharing to the YouTube page though. Let me see. There's the link. Let's see if I can grab that link. Copy. And I'll just do this. Here, I'm going to drop this link right here. That should go out to all our resources. There we go. Cool. So yeah, I would love to have you guys come in and just hang out and talk trees. And like I said, as a thank you for being a part of this group and for commenting and really getting the word out there, we'll give you some free cool stuff as well, including some time just taking a look at your personal trees. So hold on a second. I got some lighting issues going on here. That seems better. A little warmer, but better. Now I can see me. Hopefully you guys can too. So what's going on with your trees lately? It's been a wild season, guys. We've got stress trees all over Texas from some storms and flooding and heat stress. And now people are overwatering, trying to fix what's already teetering. I've seen so many fungal pathogens out there, root rot, mechanical failure in the last few weeks that I usually see all summer. And we're not even into summer yet, really. It's not even hot here. It's only 95 here in Houston today, or 98 or something like that. If your trees are acting funny, like act quickly. Feel free to drop a comment into our channel and into the Ask an Arborist Facebook group. And we'd love to answer your question just like we're about to do now. If you haven't checked us out yet, our website's live at arboristondemand.com. That's kind of our hub for all things tree consulting. Now, if you don't know, I run a company called Arborist on Demand. And essentially what we do is it's like telemedicine for trees. We are to my knowledge, the only company out there that is really trying to push digital tree care consulting. And the reason being is, well, shoot, if the medical industry can do it, why can't we? Now, I was in at ASCA conference. Now, ASCA, if you look at that little blue plaque down below, that's the American Society of Consulting Arborists. The guys on there are usually the best of the best. It is a very, very serious barrier to entry. In fact, my board certified master arborist certification, that's like the highest pinnacle point of ISA, the International Society of Agriculture. That got me halfway there to becoming a registered consulting arborist. So the guys in ASCA are really serious. And the president, hey, what's up, JK? Glad to have you. Thanks for being here. The guys from ASCA, the president, Mr. Jeff Ling, a guy I've really come to grow fond of and I respect tremendously. He made a statement that I just loved, and he basically said that tree care is where modern medicine was in the 50s and the 60s. And so, I really took that to heart because for me, I have watched over the past 2 decades that I've been doing tree care, I've watched the industry change so much. It has been unreal to me. It's a totally different industry two decades later. And so I learned every way to kill the tree and myself when I'm out there operating and performing my normal tree care operations. And, I had some great mentors come along and help me out. So that's what we try to do here is just do the same thing. Is come in here and answer your tree questions. But if you need an in-depth look, we'd love to have you. Check us out on arboristondemand.com. And like I said, we just get on a Zoom chat on a digital arborist consultation and figure out exactly what's going on with your trees. We'd ask you some questions and, of course, give you a nice little report showing you exactly what's going on and what to do about it, how to move forward and get your tree to a good place. So love to have you there. But I'm sure you're tired of hearing me jabber on about all my stuff. So let's get right into your tree questions. So this one comes in from Stacy Cross. Where you at, Stacy? From Washington. I'm assuming the state. And she's got, it's the same tree growing out of the top. Let's check it out and see what's up. It is. Yeah, that's the same tree. Ah, that's funny. So, trees are going to respond and grow however they are stimulated by their environment, by hormonal changes, by stressors, things like that. So what's happening here, Stacy, is you've got what's called apical dominance coming out of there. So prior to that, the tree's been stressed, something happened. Now it's jump starting and putting out that new growth. It looks like you've been pruning it, maybe with some pruning shears or something like that to keep it trimmed. But, that's a tree. Oh, that has a hat. That's hilarious, JK. Yes, it's got a hat, big old top hat there, like another tree hat, basically. And that's exactly what's going on. That's the same tree. That's normal. That's what the tree is supposed to look like, I believe. The rest of it has been altered and stunted. I would look into, do you do any type of herbicide or any type of weed and feed type product? And stay away from that because that will absolutely cause those branches to look real funny on the bottom. And then when things get normal again, it just starts popping out a new growth. So I think that's what's going on. And again, if you need help with your trees, I'd love to help you out with just here. Oh, shoot. No, I didn't mean to click that. I meant to middle button that. Sorry, guys. I messed up again. Hey, there's me. And now we got the long process of scrolling through all of your wonderful questions. We're going to get there eventually. I was watching all these great questions come in, and I'm sorry, guys. I've been slammed on some really big projects, and it's just been killing me. But also, I'm glad to be here with you guys, hanging out and talking trees. I was really impressed. I was really pleased to see a bunch of other arborists and a bunch of other tree guys, and even some laymen. Some of you guys are coming in and learning some things and just answering questions. So just really, really excited, like I said, to have this group, and I'm excited to see where we're going to. 1,000 in like the past, I don't know, Lucas, what did we start at? Obviously 0. But I think it was like, oh shoot, what was that? Maybe February or March. Things just really started blowing up. Maybe April, even March or April. March. Okay. Yeah. So Lucas thinking about March or so, all of a sudden we start getting like 10 new people coming in and joining and becoming members and asking questions a day. That's really when a week. That's really when we started to change our protocol. Cause I was just typing out all these answers and my fingers are flying and starting to overheat a little bit. And I realized this isn't going to work long-term. I'm spending hours behind a computer just trying to answer your questions. And that's really when we decided, like, you know what, let's just do a little live stream like this. So like I said, just glad to have you guys and be here doing these things. So this is, let's see here. Nikki is asking, what is wrong with my roses? So it looks like she's labeled the pictures. By the way, whenever y'all come in with a question, we love the questions. Also, make sure you're doing it right. So Nikki did it right. She's posting pictures of last year. She's posting, it looks like current pictures. Oh man. Oh, here we go. So last year, big, bold, and beautiful. This year, not doing so hot. So, Nikki, I'm thinking a couple things maybe, and this is the first one. To me, number one, it looks like you've got some sap here. So you see like the shiny leaf. That is not sap, but we call it honeydew. So you've got some bugs on there that are chewing it. Now that'll mess up the hormones a little bit and cause them to the leaves to start getting all distorted and all that. You also have some chlorosis, though. So that tells me maybe the insects are just a minor thing and maybe not the primary thing. So essentially, every insect that's going to chew on your tree or your shrub or your rose or whatever was born without a pancreas, right? So what that means is they don't have the ability to metabolize sugar. And so that sugar passes through their bodies, just like you and I get rid of our waste and hopefully in the bathroom. Bugs do too, but they're just outside and they do it right on the leaf. And so what that is insect feces. And our fancy way as an industry of describing that is we call it honeydew. I don't know why. That's stupid if you ask me, but hold on, I'm getting a question. Not so much. Yes and no. Long term. So Lucas was asking if they need to have a root flare at the base, just like a normal tree was. A rose is less a woody ornamental and more of a flowering shrub, and so they don't operate on the same principles. Ooh, that's a good picture. That's perfect, Nikki. Um, what I think happened, it looks like maybe a freeze caused some hormone disruption, which is causing the crazy growth you're seeing there. It, depending on where you are, it could be a virus that's called rose rosette that kind of looks like rose rosette, not perfectly. But what I'm really thinking is going on here, Nikki, is it looks like you've got some herbicide damage or some sort of phytotoxicity. Phyto is like, it's like plants. It's like the Latin root for plants. Photosynthesis. Let's see. Yeah, I'm thinking that's phytotoxicity of some sort. Phytotoxicity basically means like toxic for plants. And so that to me looks like just spot on herbicide damage or something similar. And then the bugs came in. Yeah, yeah, I have to, JK. Yeah, she's saying it's cool that we know no other plants aside from trees. Yeah, I think that's responsible. Also, I started in landscape design and install, along with a little bit of maintenance. So that helps give me a little bit. But I don't proclaim to be the expert. When it comes to plants, oftentimes I'll reach out to pros who know better than I do. So just like let's say a brain surgeon is probably knows a little bit about your plantar fasciitis or whatever, but like that doesn't mean he's the expert. So yes, can I opine about it? Yes. Does that mean I'm the foremost go-to expert on the matter? No, not at all. I rely on professionals too. So I think Nikki's got some phytotoxicity. It could be you've got some bugs chewing on it. You want to get rid of the bugs, suppress that stressor. And then you've got some chlorosis. That chlorosis combined with the leaf craziness tells me it's some sort of herbicide or something of the sort. So hope that helps, Nikki. Go ahead. Oh yeah, next question. That's a great that's a great question. I'm slacking here. Yeah, I think here's going to be your best bet is you got to get rid of those whatever toxicity is going on here. Let me give you what is it? Arborist on a man dot shop my Shopify. Yeah. Okay, I gotta put this in my links. Okay, so let me send you this product because this is a really great one. I think it'll help to feed the beneficial microbes. A lot of these guys will actually eat the herbicides that I think is causing the damage. Either way, it's not going to hurt. It's only going to help. So this is Microlife Humates Plus. It's like I said, Microlife is a wonderful brand. I know Mike, the owner, he's a great guy and loves people, loves trees, loves plants. And he's created a product that I believe is far superior to most of the stuff I've seen out there. So that's a good point, Lucas. I'm sorry. I'm slacking on you, Nikki. There you go, though. And again, if you're always welcome to join us at arboristonDemand.com and sign up for a digital arborist consultation. We can look at it a little closer. So I hope that helps. And we're moving on. All right. Sierra has not a tree related. What? Okay, so not a tree related question, but does anyone wear a fitness tracking watch while working? I used to actually. It used to. Okay, so you know those silly Fitbits that you count your steps or whatever. First of all, steps are not the epitome of health. That's not like the defining factor in health. There's a lot more to it than that. I used to use the oh shoot, there was another one that I used for like heart rate monitoring when I ran. Back when I ran, I don't do that much anymore because I'm getting fat and lazy and out of shape, which I'm not doing anymore. I'm going to fix that. That's not good. Yes. So I used to climb trees with one of those Fitbits on. I just wanted to know, and it would say I'd do like 150,000 steps or something like that, which is not accurate. That's just, I thought that was funny. But anyways, I'm sorry. I'm again, that one I'm not the foremost expert on either, Sierra. But yeah, if anybody's got some answers of some great ones, but then feel free to post it there. This is the brand I purchased for Mark, and he loves it. Work all the time with it on, and it holds battery life for weeks. And maybe I need one of those. I don't know. All right, we're moving on. Gloria is asking, hi, would anyone know what is wrong with this tree? Half of it is already unalived, and the leaves are starting to spot on the rest. I think it's a true service tree. I don't know what a true service tree is. Service berry? Could it be? Yeah, so that's black spot. That's a fungal pathogen. I'm not sure on specific epithet. You really want to get uh, your local agriculture extension. That's going to be really really important to identify it specifically. Man, that the serviceberry tree. Hold on. I don't think that's it. That doesn't look like it. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're saying there. I don't know what kind of tree that is. But one thing you can do is, where are we at? Here we go. Click on this link and find your state's local extension office, Gloria, and they might be able to guide you in the right direction. It's hard to diagnose over the phone, but a lot of times you can send in tissue samples and see exactly what's going on. Kind of looks like the tree's struggling to get resources from the ground. This is the part I love about this group is we all just have a conversation, and there's a lot of laymen. Christine on here is one of those that she's not a tree expert, she's not a tree professional, but she's learned so much and is actually giving some really really solid advice. I don't think it's a clay soil. I've been here 6 years and only started this year. I think this has been going on for a while, Gloria. I don't know. Trees are kind of delayed in their response time to pathogens and damage and things like that. One thing you could do maybe is give me a picture of the base of the tree. I think you've got some sort of fungal pathogen that's attacking, and it may be a series of fungal pathogens. But whenever it's isolated to one side or the other, that's usually biotic. Or like a specific branch or something like that. That's usually biotic, meaning something living. And I believe it's fungus, but I could be wrong in that. So check out the extension website, find your local guys. And if you want to hop on a Zoom chat, like I said, digital arborist consultation, I'm happy to do so. And we'll get you going in the right direction and figure out exactly what's going on. And you can sign up here. There you are. And we're moving on. Wait, where'd it go? Hello. All right, my interwebs are slow. Y'all tell me if it's getting crazy here. All right, so this is great. Lindsay Purcell he teaches tree care to experienced experts in the industry, and he's like one of the go-to experts out there. And he posted a little post here back on July 11th, so go check it out. Basically stating, hey, here is what we need. If you want your tree question answered, it's always best to send it in this way. My wife actually posted a very similar post the other day. I don't know. I don't even know when anymore. I'm getting so... Holy smokes, back on June 28th. It's one of our featured posts, so go check it out. But essentially, it just goes over like how to take pictures and what to send. So either way is great. Look at Lindsay's post or check out my wife's post or whatever. But it's really important that you send us the right details that we need. That way we can answer your question properly. So thank you, Lindsay, for being here. He's a great guy, true professional, and we're glad to have you here, man. And again, we've got some unbelievable experts out there that have been joining and just really pitching in and helping answer your questions. So, be sure and thank them when they do. So, all right. Thanks a lot, Lindsay. All right. Casey's asking, my mimosa is getting eaten. People say webworms, but why can't you see any? Because it's not webworms, I don't think. Not that I don't see any webworms. All right. I search and search even with my magnifying glass. Can't find anything. I've sprayed pyrethrins and another herbicide. I think it's called enough herbicide. What is a herbicide? Herbicide? Maybe herbicide. Oh goodness. Are you spraying herbicide? Don't spray herbicide. Insecticide, that's fine. Fungicide, not a fan, but sometimes you need it. I'm so upset. It's my favorite tree. Some of them I can just rub it and all the leaves come off. I've had it for 4 years planted. It when it was about 3 feet high. Now it's over 12 feet high, full of blooms too. I had the same issue last year, but can't find any answers. I even had pest control come out and they had no idea. That's because most of those pest control companies are big pest companies in a box. They get a box product, they get a box spray and treatment, and they don't deviate from that box because if they do, then that would just be too much for their brains and they'd overload and explode probably. So those guys, I don't like most of them. I do know a few great ones. And when I say great, I mean like true experts, like really know their stuff and are professionals. But most of them, yeah, they're not going to be able to answer you. So let's take a look at Casey's mimosa here. By the way, for y'all that don't know, mimosas are really cool trees. They are short-lived. It's not the 100-year-old oak. It's not a tree that you're going to pass down to your grandkids, but they're great while they last. Yeah, you got something chewing on it. I would say something more like a caterpillar or a cicada or something of that nature. But really, I see more of a stressed tree than anything. Ooh, what is this? Yeah, let's take a look at that. Okay, Casey, you got some kind of fungal pathogens going on here too. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's introduced by the whatever's chewing on it. It could be. Ooh, yeah, look at that. I didn't even see those leaves. That's beautiful and ugly all at once. Okay, so you got some chew marks here for sure. I would suspect it's something bigger, like a caterpillar or a cicada, something like that. It's not a leaf miner. You do have some fungal issues. That could be viral, actually. That's almost viral looking. I'm not really sure what viral pathogens attack mimosas, to be honest. But what we can do, and this is a good shameless self plug here, is I'd love to get on a digital consult with you, and we can take a look at it in person. Maybe get some lab samples sent off to the right place. And so I'm going to drop my link here. Spray with soapy water. Yeah, Dawn soap is a wonderful solution, by the way. That's almost like a catch-all. If y'all are having problems with your trees and you spray a little Dawn soap, just diluted, mixed up, just spray it on there. A lot of times that's going to suppress. So basically the soap forms a film around whatever's eating it. So bugs breathe through their skin. They don't breathe through lungs. Like what's that? What's that? Luke, I'm getting a buzz here. What's up, Lucas? Ooh. Okay, so Lucas is doing a little research, it sounds like. Mimosa mosaic virus. Oh, look at that. Even us experts learn some things here and there. A virus that can extract have been shown to inhibit the mumps virus. What? What is that? I didn't know that. Yo, that's cool. Mimosa. So most plants have some sort of medicinal property. Apparently, mimosa pudica, however you pronounce that, is actually known to stop the mumps virus, inhibit. That's what that means, is suppress or slow down or stop. That's cool. I didn't know that. Mimosa mosaic virus. This is a newly discovered sobemovirus found in Mimosa sensitiva L plants. It has a genome of the 45 to 95 nucleotides and is considered a new species with the genus Sobemovirus. I don't know what that means, but It's a new species. That's crazy cool. Okay, so that may be what's going on. And a lot of those are going to be localized to wherever that has been introduced. So that may be a good resource for you is check out this genome of 4,595 nucleotides is considered a new species. Cool. There you go. That may be your answer right there. I think you got a viral pathogen going on. To me, that looks like spot on virus. It could be fungus, but I don't think so. And then you got something chewing on it at the same time. Really, what you've got is a stressed plant, there, Casey. And so I'm wondering if this would not be a wonderful resource for you as well. These Humates Plus are awesome. And I've seen some great results for it. But check out the website too. I got a bunch of other products on there. The main thing is keep the tree healthy. The tree's going to take care of itself. Just like you and I have an immune system, trees, plants, everything out there has an immune system as well. Trees are designed and built for survival right down to the genetic level. So hope that helps, Casey. Like I said, I'd love to hop on a Zoom chat with you and really pinpoint this down and see if we can figure it out. But we're moving on. Lisa's asking, I have several questions. I'm growing a variety of trees from seeds to give away next spring. I love that. The world needs more trees. Yep, I agree. Maple, oak, and elm and oak are what I have right now. My biggest question is, if I keep them indoors with grow lights on all winter, will they skip dormancy and continue to grow? Technically, yeah. So essentially what happens, the reason trees go dormant during the winter is because okay. JK is saying, okay, so we're going back. Sorry. I'm going to sidetrack here. Ooh, I've heard of the mosaic virus. They're common in cucumbers. I did not know that because while I do know some things about plants, I'm not the foremost expert on the matter. So there you go. Okay. Sorry. Bunny trails. All right. So will they skip dormancy and continue to grow? So yes, they will skip dormancy. So the reason that trees go dormant in the winter is because they're out in nature. During the winter, the nights get shorter, or the nights get longer, the days get shorter. There's less sunlight. It gets colder. Obviously, the nights drop down in the whatever's the 10s or 20s or 30s or 50s or whatever, wherever you happen to be. All of those changes stimulate hormonal changes in the plant or in the tree, and that's what stimulates dormancy. So yes, you're in Minnesota. So yes, they are used to being dormant during the winter because you do get very cold in Minnesota. Been there, done that. Not for me. I'm down here in Houston, y'all. So yes, that's the answer to your question. Next question: how to make my apple sapling's trunk sturdier? It's over 2 feet now and leaning way over. I want to help it get strong and not just prop it up unless that's the best way to help it. And how to get rid of leaf mold fungus. Mold/fungus. Spraying with vinegary soapy water isn't curing it. But you probably got too much water, honestly. It's usually that simple. Last, okay, so let's see. Nobody answered. That's okay. So how do you make it sturdier? B12, believe it or not, is a really good product that'll help to stimulate some beefier structure to it. It's going to pump a bunch of essentially just the minerals that it needs to strengthen that and create those rigidy structures. B12 is great. Seaweed extract is really good. That's going to help it out. What you don't want to do is give it a bunch of nitrogen because that's going to stimulate more lengthy leafy growth. And so, yeah, you don't want to give it nitrogen. That will actually make it worse. Essentially, what you're doing is something's causing it to way grow faster than it can support itself. Totally normal. The tree will compensate over time. What you don't want to do is keep feeding it all that nitrogen because that'll just continue to stimulate the growth. What you want is to slow it down, add some humates, add some beneficial microbes, some endo and ectomycorrhizals. You can use indole 3-butyric acid, IBA is a great product. That'll actually stimulate the roots to be stronger, which in turn will create more structure. The other thing you can do, and I'm just going to blow it up here because this is pretty fun. This is my new workout routine, by the way. I don't want that right now. So you can actually... let's say, so you got a tree, it's starting to lean over. You got some leaves here, you got some leaves here. Oops. You got some leaves here. Maybe you got a branch or two coming off of there with some more leaves and some more leaves. You got a branch here that comes off with some more leaves and some more leaves and some more leaves, and etc. What you could do is you can actually structurally prune that tree to start to train it to be stronger. So essentially, the roots grow because of hormones produced in the tips, way out on the ends here. The draw root tip here. The branches grow because of health in the roots. So that's okay. You can actually stunt the growth by putting it in a smaller container. The other thing too is you can actually prune it and start getting rid of some of the excess weight. And that way the tree's supporting itself right now, at least in the terms of it's not breaking and falling over. But when you do that, now this will become the dominant branch and it will essentially stunt that growth, at least temporarily. You don't need it stunted permanently, full-time, whatever. You just need it to get by to where it can develop a healthy structure. And this is just one way that you can help out a tree and make it a little more structurally sound. Just something quick and easy you can do. Just make little snips to lighten the load on the ends there, and that will actually change the hormones, change the growth patterns, and generally make it a stronger tree. So, hope that helps, Lisa, and we are moving on. Janice asking, we had a storm last night. It's damaged 2 of our trees. Can this tree be saved after removing this large section? And will it be safe to keep it so? If so, we love our trees. This is a flowering pear tree. The other tree damaged our red bud. We planted these around 18 years ago. Wow. That is a lot of growth for 18 years there, Janice. Where's the other picture? I know there was another picture there. I saw it. I done seen it. All right, so let's go over this one anyways. This is a Bradford pear, calorie pear, aristocrat pear, something like that. It's something in the calorie pear family. These are notoriously not that well developed structurally, and that is exactly why that limb broke. Let's go back to the old drawing board here. So you got all these branches. Here's this guy for you. You got branches and branches. And then you have this one branch and it went kaput. Now it's down here. So essentially what happened is you get very, very weak branch union here. We call it included bark. So essentially, and I'll go back to the screen here. That's what you're seeing. This little dark spot is included bark. I get the question all the time. People are like, oh yeah, we think lightning struck it because the bark's a different color. No, what happened is water stayed trapped in there. But essentially, whenever that happens, you get a weak structure, which is bark. Bark is not a structural material. Start is the only thing in between there holding it up. On top of that, you get all of these fibers are going the same direction. And so when you get a wind, start pulling on the trees these directions and these directions, obviously. Those Bradford pears, those calorie pears, they're just not, they're not that strong. Oh, thank you, JK. Let me check it out. I was going to say, I know there was another picture in there. I couldn't find it though. Let's see. 6 comments, 1 share. It will be more likely to fail again. Yeah, I agree. Whenever you lose a portion of canopy, the rest of it is more susceptible. Oops. Sorry. Hold on. Y'all don't want to look at me. Lindsay Purcell, both trees are just the pear. Yeah, the pear tree. I agree. So the Bradford pear is, they're just notoriously weak trees. They'll last for 20, 25, 30 years. That's fine. And then they'll just rip in half. And then that's not fine. So they're not the best tree to have. They're a great solution if you need a canopy really fast, but they're not your long-term 50-year oak. Redbud, yeah, get rid of that limb and then just take some of the weight off at the ends. Very tips here. And not topping it, that's bad, but like reduction pruning, like we've talked about countless times before. So hope that helps. Janice, looks like Lindsay is answering that. He's one of the best you will ever meet, best arborist you'll ever meet. So thanks so much again for Lindsay for being a part of this group, and thanks for the great question, Janice. We're moving on. Patricia's asking, where are you at? New Mexico, Bosque Farms. I don't know where that one is. I have a beautiful pine tree that I purchased at Home Depot about 3 months ago and followed the instructions to watering 2 times per week, but it seemed like it was dying. I switched the other direction to give them more water. I don't know what that means. Every other day. Oh, so you're just watering more, but it's still unaliving. Excuse me, algorithms, almighty algorithms. Any support I can get would be helpful. I do not want to lose my beautiful pine. I'd be honest, Patricia, I think it's too late. Currently about 3.5 feet tall, and they said one of these wine barrels should be fine for this size based on the area that I planted it in. Putting it open to any suggestions. Live in New Mexico. Temperatures have been in the high 90s to hundreds. I think it, oh goodness, shade in the morning, full sun from 12 to 7. Yeah, your tree got desiccated as can be, just melted, I think. And I don't know what kind of pine that is. If you could tell me what kind of pine that is, maybe that would help too. But unfortunately, Patricia, I think you've got a lost cause there. I don't think that tree's going to make it. You might be able to just give it a little extra, but you got to get some shade on that thing for the afternoons for sure. Most pines, there's a few desert pines that do okay out there, but like Afghan pines do really well. Pinyon pines do pretty good in the brutal sun. But man, there's not a lot of pines that do really well. They do have needles, which are much better at trapping moisture in. So kind of like a cactus holds a lot of moisture, doesn't release most of it. That's why if you're lost in the desert, you can go find a cactus and drink it, and it's actually going to dry you out more. So don't do that. But that's the old myth, anyways. Yeah, I think that tree got melted. Being 12 to 7, that's the hottest time of the day. So I'm really sorry you're dealing with that. Maybe try moving it to a cooler place and see if you can restore it. But it's never going to have that same form, at least not for a while, and it's going to take quite a bit of training to get there. So sorry, Patricia. I hope that helps. So, all right. So I need advice on what is the best way to help our tree. My oak is beautiful. We're going to help it to live long and be healthy. Marcella's asking this. I don't know where you're from. Splits at the bottom. Can you take a picture closer up at the junction and at the ground at the base? So I know we were talking about this tree actually. Yeah, so that's 2 trees that grew into one. That is a multi-stem tree with a really weak branch union there. That's not good. Yeah, that could have been 1 tree. It's possible. I think that was 2 trees. But thanks for double checking and getting those extra photos on there. Yeah, I think this is a perfect candidate, and I know we were talking in the little chat group, but you've got that's the right word, co-dominant stem. Thank you, Jordan, for being here. That is a fantastic comment. I wholeheartedly agree. EHS cable, you want probably 5/16 or greater, something that's going to hold a good 10,000 pounds or more. And basically what you could do, y'all, let's copy this. I'm going to show you here real quick because this is pretty cool. Paint. Come on, Paint. Where are you at? My computer's not thinking as fast as I am. I don't like that. Shh. Y'all didn't see that. All right. So here's our tree. Hold on. Let's see if we can get a little better. No, I don't like that. We'll go this way. Okay, now here's our tree. What I would do is you want to go the ANSI standards. There are, believe it or not, ANSI standards. ANSI is the American National Standards Institute. And essentially what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to install a cable way up top here. Now the ANSI standard is 2/3 from where the potential failure point is. Now I see guys all the time come in and install a cable right here, and that is wrong. Don't do it. It's no good. What you want to do is go way, way, way the heck up in the canopy. Why is that color? There we go. You want to go at least 2/3 up from where the potential failure point is. Find something big and beefy that'll hold all that wood, because you got a good 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of wood and tree on each stem. The other thing you can do is actually install a threaded rod as well. That's going to be another really great option for you. And that's going to be a little bit less necessary. The cable I would do first, but this would be a good second option here for you too, Marcella. Is basically you go right above where the potential failure point is, which is right there, and you install all the way through the whole tree. You bolt it, and then you put nuts on the end of it to hold it on, and then you bust up the thread so that the nuts can't come off, and that becomes the tree's permanent support structure up high and down below, and you should be good on that one. But yeah, I think Jordan, and I know Lindsay was talking about that in the little group chat as well. But I think that would really go a long ways. I agree. And if you're local here in Houston, we can help you out. If not, you want to go to treesaregood.org and find a well-qualified arborist. And here, let me give you this too, because it's so hard to find a good tree guy. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, so check out this video and make sure you're just really grilling the guys you want to hire, because one bad pruning job, one bad cabling job can mess up your tree for the rest of its life. Essentially, it can actually put your tree under if you get it done. Just one pruning job, y'all. These arborists are they don't realize the damages they're doing. Y'all, I looked at a 65-year-old tree today that was almost 50 inches in diameter. That means somebody has babied this tree and really helped it up. And y'all know what I found? I found gaff marks. Gaffs are spikes that guys wear on their shoes to climb the trees, right? You don't gaff a live tree. Everybody knows that. Every arborist that is worth anything knows you don't gaff a live tree. Come on, y'all, stop doing that. It's no good. It's just no good, y'all. So don't hire guys that suck at trees. That's just bad. It's bad. Your trees are an asset that you want to invest in, not something that you just hire the guy that knocks on your door and he'll cut your trees for $100, y'all. No good. All right, we're moving on. Hope that helps, Marcella. All right, Joe's asking, this antique house I bought came with an apple tree. Yeah, it looks like an apple to me. It's never grown apples. It is clearly sick. I've had the property for 5 years. It's such a beautiful tree, though, and such a nice spot. Yeah, it really is. That's cool. That's a huge apple tree, too. Looks like an apple tree anyways. Yeah, Christine's right. Yeah, I think it is a tree risk assessment, but also will the tree just grow to tolerate it? Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I've got... Actually, hold on. I want to do this over here. I don't want y'all to see that yet because I got some private information there, but Gmail. Yeah, I gotta protect the innocent here, y'all. This is a client that owns a zipline park, an adventure park that I help manage the trees on anyways. Obviously, the trees hold the zip lines, so it's important that they stay alive and healthy and thriving. So the guy, the manager sent me a few pictures the other day. Let's see if I can find them for you guys. Here we go. If it'll ever load. All right, here we go. Bolts in trees. What are you doing? My computer is always so slow when we do these things. I think it's Word that's slowing it up, actually. Lucas, like, you got to get a better computer. What's that, Lucas? Mine does. Yeah. Yeah, it's overheating right now. I can feel it. All right, so maybe I could see these. Maybe you can't. Let me blow it up a little bit so you can see better. But if you notice here, that would be the equivalent of a threaded rod. It goes all the way through the tree, and then you see what the tree is doing here. It ate it. So one thing, when they have to maintain it, right? So what they wound up doing is they had to chisel out this section, which is, it just makes me sick, but it's got to happen for ACRT purposes. They're the governing entity that manages these adventure parks and such, and set the standard for them, really. And so they've got to be extended. So you can see here, though, that on some of these, it literally, the tree just ate it. And that is how a tree works. It's compartmentalization, essentially. It just grows all around it. Yes, the tree will tolerate it. We've got to do some things to help it, give it a boost. So yeah, it can tolerate it, JK. That's a great question. But if the tree's already stressed or it's having some other, it's that's exactly right. So JK, this is funny. Not funny for me at the time, but I've had every tree guy that's ever done has a lot of experience in tree care, has come across a nail or a bolt. One time I actually I cut into a bike frame in a tree. That happened like 30 feet up in a maple. It was like 70 or 80 years old. So like 30 years ago, somehow this freaking bike got up in the tree. Probably some idiot kid like me put it there. That's something I would have done as an idiot kid. And so anyways, decades later, I'm going to remove the tree. And what do I find? A freaking bike in the tree? We're all like just mind blown. But I had this other tree too Back in the 70s and 60s and 80s, they used to put concrete into cavities of trees. So, like, let's say you got a tree and it's got a cavity, and what these arborists back then, we didn't know what we know now. Yeah, literally a whole, not the whole bike frame. It was like not the handlebar. It was just the diamond frame portion, like the. And then you got like the back wheel here, and the back wheel here, and the pedal here, or whatever. The seat here. That's like the worst bike drawing ever, but you get the point. Yeah, it was just that little diamond frame, and it had a couple other little parts sticking off of it or whatever. So, anyways, they used to recommend. So you got a cavity, and what they would say is like fill that cavity with concrete. So what happens is eventually the tree grows around it, and it's sealed, and then instead of looking like it had concrete filled in it at one point, it just looks like a tree. And so maybe you got like a little ring here, and you got some compartmentalization tissue. But I'm cutting through this tree because we're like, this is right down at the base, and I keep running into this concrete, and it destroys my chain on my chainsaw. And this is back when I didn't know what I was doing and know how to charge properly. And so I charged them, I think, like $500 to take this huge tree down. And I wound up spending around $600 in chains because I kept running into the concrete, kept running into the concrete. So that's how they used to solve these problems. Now we know you're actually far better off just leaving it open and not filling it in with anything. You want oxygen to it. You want air. So that's really important. So anyways, there's my little tangent for the night. Yeah, I was very upset that day, JK. I was mad. I was like, what's wrong with you people? And then I'm mad at myself because I didn't charge them enough too. So that hurt. Oh well, life happens. Anyways, bunny trails for the win, y'all. Sorry. Yes, a whole freaking bike frame. I've seen some things, y'all. It's been a weird industry to be in. Okay, so we're looking here at this apple tree, and it's really struggling. I think Christine's right. You've got a structural hazard issue, especially leaning towards the house like that. So you want to make sure it's structurally sound. Honestly, though, the pictures are that's a pretty decent one. Most of these pictures are not great, and I can't see a whole lot there, Joe. What we can do is get on a digital arborist consultation, or if you can try to clean it up and give me some better pictures, maybe I could tell you a little bit more about what's going on. But what I would do is focus on improving the overall health and vitality of the tree. You could do that with just supplemental waterings, and not overwatering. Don't water it every other day. That's bad. You want to just let the soil dry out, water it when it's super hot, and you can do the screwdriver test just to give it kind of a quick little one over and see what's going on, and that might help as well. But I know I got to switch my credit card. Let's find the screwdriver test. There we go. Let me post this here for you, Joe. Yeah, I can't tell exactly what's going on. Obviously, it's stressed. I would assume there's probably an anaerobic condition in the soil. But yeah, Christine's right. You want to definitely make sure that it's structurally sound. I see some potential weaknesses in there too. And then you do have like you got grass in the background, but you've got like weeds up here. So I'm wondering, a lot of times that can be just because there's an anaerobic condition. You've got compaction in the soil, the weeds. I stopped calling them weeds. I call them mechanics now. They're actually doing stuff, y'all. So weeds are not bad. They just happen to be on a mission, and sometimes that mission goes against your mission of having a beautiful yard. So that's normal. But if you've correct the problem or the issue that's causing the weeds to grow wild or the mechanics to grow wild, then oftentimes they won't do that anymore. They'll just go away. Most weeds don't like to be in an area with high available phosphorus, high available calcium, high available magnesium, things like that. So a lot of times they're actually pulling those minerals from the bottom layers up into the top. You can actually see, oftentimes, you can see little white specks inside of the stalks. Like if you take a big stalk and cut it, a lot of times you can actually see the little white flecks of calcium in there. It's really cool. Anyways, moving on. Miljan, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, asking, I don't know anything about trees, but this seems a bit off to me. Some yellowing in the leaves. Thoughts? How can I help this tree? Let's see what the comments say. You're going to want to snap a picture of the base where the tree meets the ground too. You are awesome, Christine. Thank you so much for reminding people to do that. Let's see what you got to say, but it might be covering up the root flares at the base of the tree. Yep, I agree. They're a little bit buried. Not horrible, but you want to address that for sure. Oh, you're too sweet. She's posting my my radial trenching video. You're great, Christine. Thank you for doing that. Yellow might be a sign that the tree is not getting enough nutrients from the ground to build up the chlorophyll in the leaves. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, vertical mulching. I'm about to do a video on that too. Vertical mulching as well. That's a really good, like old school. Our grandparents used to do this kind of stuff. They put plugs in the ground and backfill it with fertilizer or compost or something. So vertical mulching and radial trenching are both great techniques to really just get extra oxygen into the soil. That's really important. Roots need to breathe. All the beneficial microbes need to breathe. And if they're not, you're only going to have problems, y'all. So don't do that. But yeah, that's number one. Thank you for the video post, Christine. You're amazing. That's perfect. And yeah, I think you've got a stressed tree. I think you've got rocks here, sidewalk here, rocks here, stakes holding it. Don't take those stakes away. That's a newly planted tree, I think, maybe in the past couple of years, give or take. But yeah, I think it was planted too deep, and more than likely it was planted in a planting container that is no good. Now, I know I do this like every live Q&A that we do, guys, but it's so important, so I'm going to do it again. Anytime you have a tree planted, believe it or not, there are actual standards for how to plant a tree. Pet peeve of mine here, y'all, incoming hot. So here's what typically happens. You got to place it in the soil. You dig a hole about the size of the planting container in the tree. Now, I've put this up high. That's where it's supposed to be. Most of y'all plant it down here. And so what happens, the root flares get buried, and then as these roots try to come out, they run into that rock solid wall of untampered with soil, and they can't go anywhere. And so they don't break free. And so I think a lot of what you're going through is you've got a newly planted tree that was probably planted wrong. Let me see if I got the ANSI standards here. I know I had them earlier. Oh, I put that. Hold on, no. Pruning standards, planting and transplanting standards, page 72. This is a big old pet peeve of mine, y'all. Both size. Okay, right here. It reads, excess soil or other material over the flare shall, like as in it has to be done, be removed. I know that's a terrible, terrible image. My camera is just not adjusting. I need to fix those settings, don't I? Backfill and mulch, don't do it. I know it says it in here. Plant acceptance, root ball should be large enough to ensure establishment, root collar, plant acceptance criteria. On sites with poor quality soil, the planting hole width should be increased as necessary to encourage plant establishment, survival, and longevity. It's actually in the best management practices guide. That's through the ISA. So I'm getting my standards here wrong, but essentially you want to dig the hole 2 to 3 times. All the research is showing it requires at least 2 to 3 times the actual size of the planting container. So if you've got a planting container that's 12 inches, you want to go like 36 inches. If you got one that's 2 feet, you want to go 6 feet. Crazy, right? It seems like a lot, but that little bit of extra work that you have to do, and make sure you get your Gatorade or your coconut water or whatever, that's the difference between you wasted $1,000 in a tree and you didn't. So don't do that. Don't waste $1,000 in trees. That's not smart. That's bad management, bad planning. So anything, I think you got a poorly planted tree. I'm gonna second what Christine said is yes. This. That's it. That's all I got. I think that's great advice. Is go check out that video. Radial trenching is going to be your best friend. And then let me give you some of this stuff too. Oops. Oopsies. Check out this. This is really going to help break up that clay and that surrounding soil to make sure that it has the ability to break through. So hope that helps. Sorry you're dealing with that. Miljan. I don't know how to pronounce your name. So anyways, moving on. Justin was asking on the 12th, how old is this Juniperus grandis? That's an old tree. I looked at that. That's got to be at least 200-300 years old. They grow super, super slow. It looks like it's in a native environment, desert type environment on a hiking trail somewhere. That's a super old tree. I don't know. But I did answer that one, and so we're gonna skip on past that for time's sake, because I'm looking at the time and it's like, holy cow, we've already been out at this for an hour, you guys. Thanks so much again for being here. Planting container. Okay, so there's 3 different ways. Okay, JK, I'm gonna go back to this because this is important. There's 3 different types of trees. There is a bare root tree that you can purchase. There's what's called a ball and burlap tree, which essentially they go out with a spade and they just cut the roots, and then they wrap it in burlap and kind of some twine and things like that. And then there's an actual container grown tree where essentially they've got like a plastic bucket. They grow it. Once the roots get to the edges, they step it up into a bigger size and they just continue on until they sell the plant. So that hopefully that answers your question there, JK. But yeah, planting containers that's a container grown tree. Ball and burlap's a little bit different. Honestly, you wind up having to sever most of the roots on a ball and burlap. So I'm not a huge fan. Bare roots, great. They don't sell them here in Texas. That's more when you have like a really lush, loamy type soil. By the way, loam is humus compost, and loam is very good for trees. You want a good sandy loam clay mixture in an ideal soil. You don't want it to ball up into big chunks like we have here. You don't want it to just be pure sand that flakes out. And so when you're planting trees, yeah, you're very welcome. When you're planting trees, check out your soil first. That's really important, because if you can identify a poor soil, amend it before you put the tree in the ground, you're going to have such an easier time growing that tree, and you'll just hate it less and love it more. So hope that helps, guys. All right, Kyle's asking, I think this is a dogwood, type of dogwood tree. I nicked it with a weed whacker a couple months ago, and since the tree has been slowly unaliving, does anyone have any recommendation to treat the tree? Man, that stinks. Yeah, weed whackers, by the way, your lawn guys are not your friends when it comes to your trees. They will do this all the time. I see it all the time. Neil Sperry says, fire them without pay. He wrote a book called Texas Gardening back 30, 40 years ago now, and did a radio show the whole time as well. I tremendously respect that man. He's up in McKinney, Texas. But yeah, he says fire them without pay, because that is detrimental. Essentially, think of if you just took the arteries and the main arteries and veins around your heart and just snipped them, right around the heart area. That's essentially what happened there. So everything else that's connected to that, i.e. the canopy, cannot get any nutrients from the ground. No water, no nutrients. Unfortunately, you may lose this tree. But believe it or not, I've actually seen crazier things happen. Let me give you one that we sell. This is a great product. You want to mix this stuff with, and I'm not saying this is going to fix it, but if anything is going to do it, mix this with This. Nope. Wrong one. Hold on, pal. I got you. Just everything's so slow tonight. This is ridiculous. I gotta fix this before next time, Lucas. And at long last, this stuff. So go ahead and throw those things on there. If you really want to give it a shot, that's going to be the trick. If not, if it doesn't make it, and you got to get rid of it, at least do that on the next one and see if you can get the roots to stimulate a lot more. That'll really go a long ways to help it out. So hope that helps, Kyle. Sorry you're dealing with that. That stinks. All right. Pro painter, carpenter, 16 years, 32 years, and interested in becoming a climber arborist. I don't have much tree experience. Actually, I'm going to skip this one because, look at this. That's awesome. He's from Derby. I know his parents well. He's traveled all over the world. I know BJ Brock is a really cool dude, actually. I've climbed with him personally up in Kentucky, and he ran around in the competition circuits like I did. Bartlett Tree Experts, great company. I love these comments, y'all. This is great. By the way, this is not normally the kind of conversation we want to have here, but shoot, I'm always happy to get a new guy that wants to get interested, that's really interested in joining the industry. You got to start out right. You got to get taught right. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me too, Skylar. I'm happy to point you in the right direction. It sounds like you got a really great group of people that are helping you out here. So try to become an apprentice. That's exactly right. Learn from somebody that knows what the heck they're doing. That's the key there. So hope that helps, pal. Like I said, shoot me a DM if you want. We can chat more about it. All right. Karen's asking, anyone know what kind of mushroom this is? Found it in my yard while weed whipping. Is attached to an old small stump. That to me looks like the baby Ganoderma. But if you really, really want to know, I don't think it's worth it, honestly. Humble opinion, because it doesn't matter. Really, what it's just doing is eating the woody stump that's left over. So, to me, leave it alone. Humble opinion. I wouldn't mess with it. But if you're worried about another tree getting it, you might look into that and send a sample off. You can actually have it diagnosed. Just go to that website. It's a little blog I created with all the U.S. agriculture extensions. Find yours, send them a sample, see if they can identify it for you. But to me, it looks like Ganoderma lucidum. Oops. Lucidium. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, Karen. I think you're okay. The main thing is just don't let it get on other stuff, because if that is Ganoderma, it is a wood decay fungus, and it will consume the wood on your trees. All right, Caitlin's asking, hello, I'm going to be planting American Pillar Thuja. The Thuja is arborvitae in my lawn against a solid white vinyl fence. I mistakenly bought American Pillar Smarged. I don't know what that is. Help me out here, Lucas. What am I missing? Smarged? Lucas? Where is are you? I don't even know, man. And while they are thriving, they're going to have to be relocated. They aren't going to be what I need. I've read so much misinformation. I want as much privacy and hedge as I can get. I have neighbors bi-level housing pointing at my that stinks, at all direction, all sides of my property, 3.5 feet off the fence, line and 3 feet apart. I want them to breathe and not unalive. Transition zone, Fort Mill, South Carolina. Summer scorching 90s, full sun, scorching 90s. Try 110s, then talk to me about scorching. But yeah, that's pretty hot actually. So yeah, not to downplay that. Thank you. Pick his current trees, 3 years planted, bought at 6 feet tall. Okay, so if you need to relocate them, then what you're going to have to do is wait till winter and essentially transplant them. Let's try it as early as you can. You're going to get a little cooler quicker than we are, so maybe November would be okay for you. But essentially, you want to go as wide as you can, pull out as much of the root ball as you possibly can, preserve as many of those roots, and then go ahead and transplant them where you need to. But yeah, that stinks. The privacy factor, man. And I'm working with a guy that I actually just got the approval right now for the reporting that we're going to do on it. But he had a school system come in, and he's like, the guy's telling me like he doesn't even want to live there anymore because it's so detrimental, losing that privacy from when they came in and cleared it out. So yeah, I hear you. That's really critical, and plants are a great way to get that privacy. Um, I mistakenly bought American Pillar Thuja. I don't know what you're saying here. Yeah. Yeah, Thuja's arborvitae. Thuja occidentalis. I don't know that one specifically, but American Pillar, 2.5 feet apart for dense hedge. So actually, I think density wise, you're okay. The vinyl fences are really, really sensitive, so that is a factor. Um, they aren't going to be what I need. Yeah, I think they are actually. If you want a really, really dense hedge, though, you're going to have to put them closer together. Another great option, you're in South Carolina, I think Eagleston hollies and some of the Savannah hollies like that. They may be different in your area, but they're, let's see. Let's see what's available. Plant Ant, by the way, is a great tool. Fort Mill. You can actually look up plants. It's basically a database, just like Google would be for people that sell plants. So um, let's see what's there. Fort Mill, South Carolina. Yeah, American hollies grow there. Okay, so there's a ton of different hollies that grow in South Carolina. So that might be another great option for you. There, Caitlin. Those are going to have a bigger canopy up high. Those thujas are going to be more of just like a straight column that grows up. So they're not going to blend together really well. You want to get them like 2.5 feet apart. Yeah, 2.5 to 3 feet apart. I want them to breathe and not unalive. Yeah, I'd say 3 is okay. Just make sure you fertilize it with a little bit of extra nitrogen. Don't go crazy. That's not good, but that might help. So those are just my thoughts initially. I think I want as much privacy in hedge as I can get. I think you're going to have to put them closer together. Actually, that way you're getting they'll actually fill in the gaps. It'll take a long time. So like I said, you may want to encourage them a little bit and get some more growth out of them that way. But hope that helps. Like I said, another option is we can always go online and we can take a look at it in person, and I can tell you my thoughts and feelings on the matter. So here's the link. Feel free to sign up, and I'd love to help you out, Caitlin. All right. Anonymous asks, planted the Sodom Blaze maple last fall. Only some of the buds have sprouted leaves. Has anyone seen this before? Any advice? Located in Minnesota. Yeah, that's a stressed, stinking tree. Planted last fall. Okay, so this is its first year. So I'm wondering if it didn't get some serious freeze and transplant shock going on there. What you want to do is hit it with some humic acid and molasses. And I sound like a broken record, but those two combined, especially humic acid, is just unbelievable. You can spray it right there on the leaves and right there on the branches as well. So do that, and one of these here, and then let's see. And I gotta pay my. There we go. Shareable link. Here we go. Planted too deep. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering the same thing, JK. I think that you've probably got a poor planting job. I don't see any pictures of the base, so that's my only question. Is I don't have a lot to go off of here. Y'all, whenever you're sending me pictures, be sure you send like all the details, far away, close up. Give me some closer to the leaves. Give me some closer to the base of it, the trunk there, and we'll see if we can figure it out. But that'd be the best option. Is we can hop on a digital arborist consultation and see what's going on exactly. But in lieu of that, if you want to just like apply that humic acid and molasses, that'll start to redevelop the soil and kind of structurally change it. You are in, I think, Minnesota. Yeah. So you've got really good soil off the mountains and all that. So much better soil than we have here in Houston. So hope that helps. Yeah, I'm wondering maybe it was planted too deep as well. But moving on. William's asking, what's the cheap but reliable way to keep as much of this hackberry while trimming it not to be a widow maker? Down the middle split is a newish 2 portion that has gone left 6 months ago in a stock. Other half of the top portion split very well, little as well then, but it's held on and stayed 100% green. Okay, so it looks like it's splitting and kind of held on, I think is what you're trying to say, William. I'm not sure exactly. That's a hackberry. Hackberries are not the best trees to have, but I really like them. The only issue I have with hackberries is that they're structurally, they can look really healthy and thriving and structurally become just a mess. But what I would do is actually prune a lot of the branch tip weight. You've got a really dense canopy. Don't let them prune the middle of that. That'll just make the situation worse. But if you go in and do some pruning on the outer edges of the canopy, that'll reduce the leverage. I think this would be a really good candidate for doing some structural support systems as well, because you've got that really big split there. That's going to be a structural hazard. This branch is pretty weakly attached. Oh man, you got a lot of pictures too. That's perfect. Thank you, William. So this is the big concern I would have. I'd be worried about this limb as well, but it doesn't look like anything was over there. So if a tree falls in the forest, who cares? If it falls on your house, that's a problem. It looked like you had maybe a fence or something over here, and what was that? A shed or something I saw. Yeah. So that's the big issue is that shed there. You want to make sure that's structurally supported over the shed, especially if it does fall, it's a shed, it's not a huge deal. Obviously it stinks to lose personal property, but that's what I would do. I would consider doing a structural support system. It's not cheap. You're looking at, depending on who does it, $300 to $700 for a structural support cable, maybe more, maybe less, depending on where you're at and who does it. And a lot of you guys they're just price gougers, but yeah, you definitely want to support this branch union right here and this branch union right here, because that limb is really heavy. You can see here too, there's not a lot of taper on that limb. Taper meaning like it goes from fat to skinny as the branch grows out. That's a sign of structural strength. Hackberries, like I said, they can look really healthy like this and be structurally decrepit. So it's kind of a ticking time bomb. You want to be careful of that one. But yeah, get somebody in there that knows what they're doing. If you want, I'm happy to get on a digital consultation and we can take a look at it personally and get a good game plan together. And we can basically just draw out exactly which limbs to prune and then have your guys go do it locally. So I hope that helps. And we're moving on. Oh yeah, this question. So after trimming last year, they seem to be dying, unaliving. Sorry, face webs on me this year, especially the bigger one out of the two. Can someone tell me what is wrong with them or needed to get them growing back in the right direction? I really don't want to get rid of them unless there isn't a chance. Located near Lubbock. What's up, fellow Texan? That looks like a mulberry, maybe a maple. Y'all got a lot of mulberries up there in Lubbock in the desert. I used to, y'all, just so you know, I had a company in Dallas, and we had a satellite office in Midland. So very similar climate. Yeah, that's a mulberry. Mulberries actually do okay there. Um, really cool trees. I like mulberries. They're kind of gross. They're kind of sticky. The sap, they bleed all over the place. And then the fruit, if you get a fruitless mulberry, they're fine. If you get a fruiting mulberry, man, those fruit can drop and they just start to reek. But also, if you get the ripe fruit, delicious. Make some jam out of that. I'll be honest, that was pruned 100% wrong. Lindsay's spot on. They were topped. They'll continue to be topped. They will continually be topped due to the proximity of the utilities. They will not recover, and should be removed. Consult your utility for appropriate species and spacing. Yep, I agree. I'm sorry, dude. That's or dudette. That's a lost cause. Those trees are too big for that power line going through there. And if it's the utility companies coming in and doing it, they're just going to hack, chop, and slice. They don't care about your tree. So I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but yeah, if you want help, we do have a cheaper option too. You can send us We can do like a picture diagnosis, what I'm calling it. But really, we could just do an email diagnosis for half the cost of the digital arborist consultation. So feel free to send me a message and I can get you started on that. But basically, it's $45 to do that. And I'll give you a list of all the trees that would work well in your area. I do know Lubbock a little bit, and I know a couple guys up there too that can help you implement it. So hope that helps. We're moving on. Becky's asking, this tree was here when we bought the house 3 years ago, but 2 weeks ago, this started happening in two spots. It also unaliving some of the branches of the jasmine that was touching this area. What is happening and how do I treat it? That's a great question. I like your little clown rock. That's pretty cool. Becky, that's fun. What is that? Is that a phallus you got on your? Yeah. There's a lot of inside jokes in there. Some of y'all might get it. You know what? That could be mites. The only thing is it wouldn't affect the jasmine. Mites wouldn't affect the jasmine. That'd probably be more fungal. But I see either mites or fungal pathogen attacking that one. Here's what you can do: is you can find your local agricultural extension, and they can get you pointed in the right direction for diagnosis. But again, if you want help with that from me, I'm happy to help as well. We can get on a digital arborist consult and get you pointed in the right direction there as well. If I can find it, here we go. One of these days, I'll get organizing in my life together and just have these links ready to rock and roll. I don't know. And really, I need a little bit more information and some better pictures because I really can't see much on there. There is it's a mite test. It's a really cool test. Super technical and difficult to do. You take a piece of paper, Becky, you take your leaves and you shake it right over the paper. And then, you just shake your leaves up there. And then what you want to do, you can get a magnifying glass that's better unless you're like, if you're like me, you need a magnifying glass. I got too much sawdust in my eyes over the years, but basically you're going to look for little creepy crawly things crawling around on that white sheet of paper, and you'll be able to see it better on the white. But you want to look for the ones with 8 legs. Those are in the arachnid family. There are spider mites. And so if it is that, then that's a pretty easy fix. Really, it's keep the tree healthy and give it a little extra help with the miticides and all that. But to me, it looks almost maybe like that or fungal pathogens. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, do that mite test and just give it a shot and see. If it's not, it's probably fungus. So hope that helps. We're moving on. Richard's asking, question for the experts. What is happening here? North Monterey County, California. Let's see. The 7 years I've been on this property, I've never seen this mini coastal live oak seedling sprout just this season. That's a stressed freaking tree is why it's doing that. Live oaks have this wonderful ability to put out little suckers. Now, here's the thing. When the sprouts are coming from the tree in the canopy, they're called water sprouts or epicormic sprouts. When they're on the ground like this, they're called suckers. So if your tree guy calls the things in the air suckers, you got a bad tree guy. Get rid of them. Don't even let them touch your trees because they don't know what they're talking about. I've heard them say things like, oh, you got to get rid of the suckers because they're sucking the life out of the tree. It's like, man, you play on words too much, dog. That's not how that works at all. That's actually the only thing growing on the tree. I've even had them take a tree that's unaliving from the top down, resprouting in the middle. It's trying to live. They come in, they cut all of that stuff out of the middle, the only green living tissue on the tree. Next thing you know, we're removing the tree later on. So don't do that. This is a very stressed tree. Your root flares are buried. You've probably got Monterey County, you've probably got some drought going on, I would imagine. So I would give it some supplemental watering. And it looks like, believe it or not, I see some herbicide damage. I'm wondering, did you come in here and spray stuff here? Because you got a really nice, clean area that doesn't look like there's a lot of growth there. So be careful with all the herbicides. Are going to, just about all of them are going to damage the tree. And so don't do that. Those weird shaped leaves, that is like just textbook. You got some herbicide damage going on. Live oaks do that too. When they get stressed, they get these crazy, they almost look like holly leaves. Wait, all those sprouts are the tree, not independent trees. Yeah, typically. Yeah, those are root suckers. It's a, that's a great question, JK. They're root suckers is what they are. And essentially that's a reactionary growth to stress. A lot of trees have kind of some backup systems built in. We talked about in other episodes, we talked about latent buds in the bark, just underneath the bark, right in the cambium. And those are basically like in case of emergency sprouts. in case of emergency buds. And whenever the tree gets super stressed, it says, hey, I needed all those leaves. No, I'm unaliving from the top down, or because you pruned too much or whatever, and it'll explode in growth. Live oaks are notorious for that. And they're also notorious for those root suckers. Whenever they get stressed, oftentimes it's some sort of girdling root, some sort of herbicide damage, or environmental stressors that are causing it. And yeah, that they can be acorns, but I don't think that's the case in this one, JK. A lot of times you'll have like a massive explosion of acorns, and sometimes they'll grow. I've only seen that in a handful of cases, though. Most of the time it's stress related. So hope that helps, Richard. And yeah, sorry you're dealing with that, man. The main thing, give it some supplemental water. Stop whatever herbicides or whatever you're using in that area, I think. And then, man, I don't know. Just give it some supplemental water and some fertilization. See what happens. You got a stress tree there, pal. I don't know if that's going to make it. I'm wondering too. I kind of saw a little bit. Sorry, just bunny trailing here. It almost looks like there's some bark damage here. Now, in your area, there's a Phytophthora specimen that is it causes what we call sudden oak death or decline. But essentially, it's a water mold fungus. So if it's not drought, Richard, if you got more of a flooding type scenario, I would look into that Phytophthora. Maybe send it off for lab samples. But and again, actually, California's Ag Extension is really, really good. So they'll be happy to help you. I got stopped by like Border Patrol one time when we were coming from New Jersey to California on a contract. And there was a beetle called the spotted lanternfly, and it's brand new to the United States. We've never seen it. And they searched my car all up and down because it was in Pennsylvania. They lay their eggs in these little mats right on the on any smooth surface, really. And that was what they were worried about. Those spotted lanternfly, look it up. That's a crazy little critter. They look super cool, but like super Asian too. They're kind of funny looking. Now, I don't mean anything mean like by that, but like emerald ash borer is a really bright green beetle. They just get some cool critters out there. But anyways, they basically they love vines. They love wine, grapes. And so wine industry is a big part of California economy. And so they stopped me at basically it was like Border Patrol was like, they were searching, they like lifted the car up to search underneath it and everything. It was funny. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm an arborist. I bet you're looking for spotted lanternfly, aren't you? And he's like, yep. So that was a pretty fun little side story. Anyways, moving on. Majority of trees on our property are natural growing poplars. They tend to grow tall without much branching. Are there any general arborist tips for promoting branching on poplar trees? Not popular. I keep wanting to say, we just watched Wicked the other day, the new rendition of it. And you're gonna be popular. Anyways, some of y'all get that. I'd like to target trees that are 3 to 6 meters tall. The picture show a couple good examples of how tall they stretch without many large branches. Yeah, so as these trees are growing, they're developing their canopy, right? So all of these branches are going to be permanent branches later on unless you do something about it. So let me show you what I do. I'm going to put up the big screen here. I keep saying it like I'm some fancy person with a nice TV or something. We don't watch a lot of TV. All right, so you got a tree. It's growing. You got all these branches coming off. None of them are really developing. Now, poplar wants to grow up. That's normal for that tree. We get a lot of cottonwoods here. They do the same thing. It's in the poplar family. Not popular, the poplar family. One thing you can do to promote more of these branches developing even bigger is to actually not top it, but reduce the canopy height. And you'll just basically snip the top of that. And that will basically force the tree to start reallocating. We call it apical dominance. So it's going to push dominance into those lateral branches. And hopefully, try that on a couple of them. Hopefully that'll stimulate some good growth and get them growing a little bit more developed on those lower canopies. But quite frankly, it's out in the forest. Just let them grow. You know, I don't think you're going to hurt anything letting them grow. They're going to want to grow up into a forest anyways. And all those trees together, they'll all support each other and it'll be just one big happy family, so they'll share root systems. They'll support each other in the wind and elements. But if you really want to start to train them, you can do that. You can reduce the canopy height on some of those, even on some of the lateral branches as well. You can reduce those back. not top them like I'm showing here, but that will push more of the growth into the trunk tissue and into the branch development. So hope that helps, man. Man, I say man. I don't know, man, woman, anonymous, whoever you are. Hope that helps, anonymous. We're moving on. Quantum Cherry has gone on his own. I was obviously not watching it close enough. I'd really appreciate any help. Shauna from somewhere. Yeah, I agree. Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good point, Lindsay. So he's saying Prunus, which is cherry, has more disease issues than any other genus, and yeah, I agree. Yeah, they are disease prone. That's why freaking cherries are so expensive here in Houston, Texas. They're like sometimes they're like $8 a pound. Up in New Jersey, man, we just ate the daylights out of them. They got so many cherry farms up there. But yeah, I don't see any problem with it either. That is what's called phototropism, and essentially the tree is. Why does this say no public shares? Anyways, the tree's basically reaching out for sunlight. I'm wondering where those leaves are coming from. It looks like maybe this side, but it's tropism is growth patterns, and so the tree's obviously growing somewhere for some reason. I will say this too, though: you got some buried root flares, so make sure to get that addressed. That's going to be really, really critically important. So here's a link for this. Try a little radial trenching on it. That should help. And then I'm going to do this too. This link right here. And one more. Got one more. Hello, interwebs. There we go. I'm going to have some of these prepped and ready to go next time so y'all don't have to wait on me so much. There you go. Hope that helps, Shauna. Yeah, I don't see any real problem with it either. You do have those buried root flares. That's going to be really important to get unburied. And then I agree. Yeah, just watch out for disease and pathogens, things like that. All right. What? Depog well? Not lemon tree not doing well. I don't know what that means. Sharon, you're going to have to give me a little more detail than that. You got some sun scald on the top there. Looks like maybe you lost a limb, which exposed it to the sunlight. And then those bricks are going to be just a perfect heat reflector and bounce right onto those trunks. And all your citrus trees are going to be really sensitive if they lose their leaves. I honestly don't have enough to go off of here. I'm sorry, I don't know anything about this. The sun scald's not great. That all sorts of fungus and pathogens and pests will start attacking that once you get those open wounds like that. And so it looks like you pruned or lost some branches here. You're going to have to get that to refoliate. Here's what I would do is just, I would just pump it full of humates and molasses, but I wouldn't spray it directly. I wouldn't spray a heavy dose directly on those branches and trunks because that could actually burn it worse. What I would do is spray it all around in the soil just to give it some extra resources, and hopefully that'll help. This one. And both of these are great products. You can actually find them depending on where you're at. I don't know where you're at, but they're all over the Texas area. So it looks like you could be in a Texas-y area, maybe in the west side of town. And a local nursery might carry it. But if they don't, I'm happy to help you and send it to you, ship it wherever you are. All right. So Betty's asking, don't know where you're at. We moved to a home in a wooded area with mature trees 25 years ago. The front lawn maple tree had a limestone ring around it that matched the house. Over the years, tree roots have surfaced, dislodging the stones of the ring and become exposed in the lawn, which the mowers have sliced off the tops, mowing over. Those jerks. I can't stand when they do that. Landscapers, they just seem like they don't care. I don't understand it. Large branches of the tree have fallen and further broken the limestone ring. My question is, okay for the health of the tree to have the ring replaced by cutting? No, don't do it. Cutting through the roots around the tree to have the ring replaced properly? Absolutely not. Landscapers have dug trenches around the tree to put down a foundation of compacted gravel for building the stone rings. No, don't do it. Betty, don't let them do it. They're going to destroy your tree. One of the tree roots. No, you can slightly raise the soil grade, but yeah, I'm wondering, get a better contractor. Nothing personal. I'm sure they're hardworking, fantastic young gentlemen. But if they're like destroying your tree like that's called property damage, yo. That's not good. You need better contractors that won't damage your property. You do have a lot. That tree ring has kind of created a messy scenario with the roots, but the tree can compensate for that. I don't think that's like a tree unaliver. But I would definitely not let them put down compacted soil around there. Anything over an inch to 2 inch and when we're talking about raising the terrain, don't do it, y'all. Don't do it. It's no good. Oh man, look at that. They got the chainsaw in a box. That's a homeowner version, or 1970s or 80s version. So, these guys don't know what they're doing. Yeah, keep the soil off the tree roots, y'all. Don't raise it more than a couple inches. But you definitely you don't want that tree ring there. Tree ring is no good. You don't need it. They're not all that pretty, honestly. Humble opinion. I'm gonna do a video. My neighbor. Okay. I watched landscapers down the street. This is probably 4 or 5 months ago. And we're getting out of winter, so maybe the tree's not putting out its leaves yet or whatever. I could see where maybe they got it confused, but then they kept going. And they got rained out, so they're putting tree rings around all these brand new trees. I live in a new subdivision, so we got new trees all around. It's terrible. I hate it. It's whatever. But in 20, 30 years, at least my house is going to have a nice tree. So, or a bunch of them. So it's whatever. But they come in and they put a tree ring around a dead tree, an unalived tree. The tree is clearly unalived. It's been unalived for a long time. It's not coming back. And they come in, they set the stones around it, they get rained out. I'm thinking, oh, maybe they came to their senses and they're just going to move on and not put them there. Nope, they came back and they actually mortared them in. I'm going to do a video on it here in a minute because it's kind of comical if you ask me. But I started a series a while back, and basically like reason number 8,942. I just come up with a random number. Why you shouldn't hire your landscaper to do your trees. And it's just like hiring a dentist to do your brain surgery. Like, yeah, they got the right tools. Doesn't mean you should hire them. That's silly. So I would keep those landscapers away from your tree, Betty. That's just makes me want to punch things or break things. That drives me nuts. And like, why? Why do you have to have a tree ring there? I know it's pretty, but like, don't do that, Betty. That's no good. I'm sorry. I'm getting off on a tangent here. But like, yeah, big old pet peeve of mine. So yeah, you can raise the terrain slightly, 1 to 2 inches. Just put some compost down and let it sink into the soil. And that should cover up the roots a little bit. You don't want to go more than 2 inches. That's very, very bad. So anyways, there's my soapbox for the night. Sorry. It's what it is. This one we've already addressed in detail. I need some advice. My neighbor planted this weeping willow last summer, as I hoped. Hope you can see it's rather close to my fence and my swimming pool, 20 to 30 feet. I'm rather worried. Should I be? No. 20, 30 feet away with a weeping willow. The tree's not going to make it long enough to do damage. If it does, then it means they are flooding that area and you got bigger problems with soil being washed away and movement and erosion and all that. So how do I broach this subject of the tree with them? They're lovely people and I don't want to upset them. I don't. I just, if it gets over in your yard and you don't want it, just make sure you get a qualified professional in there to prune it. Keep it at bay, but, don't damage and destroy the tree when you do that. Don't hire your landscapers to do it, whatever you do. Otherwise, they might be unlovely people to you anymore. But yeah, Ben, I think you're good to go, man. Don't even worry about it. That tree's fine. In fact, if anything, it's going to provide a little value to you guys as well. Have a nice little backdrop tree to look at and all that. So anyways, hope that helps, man. All right. What's causing this? Lightning? No, that was years ago. That was 5, 10 years plus ago. I don't even know. No, that something happened. That's we call it mechanical damage. That's just a blanket terminology for something done damaged the tree. Something busted it or whatever. I see guys drive skid steers into them all the time. I've actually seen some vandalism cases where some kids came over with machetes and they got a machete for Christmas or something, and they start hack chopping trees in the forest. But something happened. Well, that's a good point. Jordan's saying might have been codominant, two trunks, one side split out, leaving an elongated wound. I don't think it's that because it doesn't show that to me when I'm looking at it, but it could be. It's possible. Um, yeah, thanks. I operate trail cameras. So I'm up there quite a few times. Never noticed before. Definitely didn't happen recently. No, that's like 5, 10, 20 years ago. I don't even know when. You can't really tell, but yeah, I guess, yeah. He's saying, I guess we just get used to the way things look, stuff looks. And one day I noticed it. I was curious what caused it. You're the expert in what you said. Makes sense. Yeah. I don't know if it was that per se, a broken limb or stem. Oh, it might have been up top. Yeah. I could see that being a possibility, but some kind of maple, maybe a trident maple. No, it's not lightning. It's just mechanical damage, and that's the way the tree is healing, and that's the way the decay happened, and the desiccation, the necrosis rather, the unaliving back. So yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. I think the tree's fine. At this point, it probably would have compensated for it. All right, large weeping cherry tree. Looking for advice on how to best prune this. Great question. Weeping cherry. Oh, that's a pretty tree. I like those weeping cherries. But again, like our friend Lindsay said, yeah, it's already scabbed over. Yeah, that all that new tissue is all wound closure tissue. Man, those are beautiful hydrangeas too. But get rid of that rock, man. That's Eric. That's terrible. I know it looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous, but there's no denying that. But that's not mulch. It's not good. So that you're gonna want to watch out for that because that will superheat the roots, and they're rounded stones, so probably won't cut into the roots. But he's asking specifically about pruning, so let's go into that a little bit. Let's pull up the whiteboard. I love pruning questions. Pruning is one of my faves because there's a guy named Dr. Alex Shiga we consider him kind of the father of modern arboriculture, and he used to say one of the things I love that he said was, pruning is one of the best things we can do for a tree and one of the worst things we can do to a tree. And it's so true because realistically, we can prune and train a tree to be much more structurally sound. But when we do it, we call them pruning wounds. We're wounding the tree. But if you do it like what I'm about to show you here, it's actually not bad. It's not going to harm the tree much. So what you want to do is just clip the tips. So typically what you're going to have is multiple branchlets that are branches that come out. You'll have multiple of these branchlets that come off. And each leaf you're going to have multiple leaves on each one of those. What you want to do is very simply reduce these back to specific spots. So for example, like let's say you've got these that are coming, you got a sidewalk here, person walking here. Oh, I don't know why he's squatting. Maybe it's a baby. Let's say they're 6 feet tall, whatever. And they got to have a clear path. Well, let's say the branch is coming down to here. Well, what you can do is just take some of these lateral branches that come off of there and clip it right back to one of those. You don't want to top it. You want to make sure you're making the right cut. But what you can do is effectively reduce the canopy height on those individual limbs. And that way you've still kept the natural form of the tree while getting the height and functionality requirements that you need. So anyways, hope that helps. But that's kind of what I would do is just reduce the height of some of those branches, just the ones that are getting a little out of control. And that should go a long way. So hope that helps, Eric. Moving on. Anyone know what this is? My elm tree. It's losing branches at an alarming rate. Praying I can save the tree. I live near Fort Worth. What's up, Texan? That helps with determining what's going on. That looks like a elm. You sure that's an elm? That's a pecan. That's not an elm. Yeah, I don't think that's an elm. I could be wrong. Totally could be wrong. I don't think I am, though. No, that's not an elm. No, or a pecan. I'm going to assume you're right, and it's a elm tree. It could be elm rust. What is that? what is this? Looks like somebody pulled up Chat GPT. Pararust. Okay. Elm leaf spot or other elm. Okay. Gymnosporangium sabiniae. Leaves on the image are. I didn't know that could affect elms. Okay. Interesting. Okay, I learned something new. I didn't know that could pararust could affect elms. That's pretty cool. Yeah, some sort of rust, some sort of fungal rust. Do you have a juniper nearby? That's a good question. What I would do is I'd send it off to a plant pathologist and find out exactly. Let's see. Here's a bigger picture. I mean, I'm still seeing pecan. The branching structure to me looks like pecan. I don't know. That's questionable. That looks like spot on pecan. Just the branchlets and how it's developing. No, maple ash, dogwood, buckeye. Could it be in the Acer family? I don't think so. I'm drawing a blank on that one, honestly. I'm sorry. Yeah, it looks to be some sort of a rust or some sort of a fungal pathogen. So click on this link and check out the all copy. Yeah, find the Texas one. It's going to be Texas AgriLife Extension, and they can get you pointed in the right direction. So I'm sorry, I'm not recognizing that one, but it definitely looks like some kind of a gymnosporium, some sort of a rust type blight fungus. So hope that helps, Anonymous. Sorry, not a little better help, but moving on. Dan's asking, the maple had ants in the dead limb, unalived limb. I cut the limb off a couple years ago and used 7 dust in the void. Don't do that. The ants unalive, but have recently returned. The limb above the previous cut off with the red X is totally unalived. Okay, so cut back that one for sure. Yeah, you've got a maple tree, Dan, and maple trees are not great compartmentalizers. But Lindsay's right. You want to leave it alone. Don't treat the pruning wound. That's no good. What you do want to do is just maybe give the tree some extra resources. Again, I like humate some molasses. I'm going to go ahead and post a couple of those on here as well. But use that. That's going to give the tree some extra resources. So hopefully it can compartmentalize those wounds a little better. By the way, leaves make sugar. Sugar is what trees are made of. They're also made of the basic elements of air is another way to put that. But C6H12O6, if you can get extra sugars into the tree, that's going to feed a lot of the beneficial microbes. They're going to go to work to fix a lot of the nutrients out of the air and basically give the tree what it needs. So yeah, I'd keep away from any sealant or anything like that. But just let it grow and seal on its own. Unfortunately, maples are not the long-lived trees they're not your 50, 100-year-old oaks. They can last, some of them 50 to 100 years, but it's not nearly as common. So hope that helps. All right. So Chanley's asking, where are you from? Don't know. I planted these weeping willows from tiny sticks. They've grown a lot, and I'm just wondering if there's any trimming I should do at this early stage to help them grow. Nope, let them grow. Let them grow until you start to see some of the final canopy develop. You want to get that structure growing first, and hopefully they'll grow into nice, healthy trees. Those are cool looking trees. I love that you're planting new trees, getting them started like that. It's super cheap. It costs water, a little bit of dirt maybe, and whatever the saplings cost. So anyways, super cool that you're doing that. Way to go. Keep that up. The world needs more trees. And yeah, well done. But no, I wouldn't do anything. I'd just keep them growing. When they get too big for their pot, move them to a bigger one. That's it. Dwayne's asking, I have an October Glory maple that's been in the ground 5 years, was about 7 to 8 feet tall when planted, maybe twice that tall now, but not as broad across as I thought. Should it be bigger, and what does girdling roots look like? Some roots at the base don't look normal. Yeah. What does girdling, we got to have some pictures. That's really, really important, Dwayne. I don't know. But girdling roots. Oh, I do have that video. Let me post this one, because this is what girdling roots look like. And they come in all different forms and fashions, but this is just, one example of a girdling root we found on a tree. And then this one as well. Oops. Did I post the YouTube studio link? I did. Hold on. That's the wrong link. Get rid of that garbage. Yes, delete it. Why would I click so many buttons to get to it if I didn't want to actually delete it? So I don't know, without pictures, but yeah, if you've got some girdling roots, then that's probably what's going on. Generally speaking, if you do have girdling roots, it's not going to make the tree grow taller. It's going to make the tree go wider because a lot of times it can't get that pressure all the way up into the upper canopy. It takes more energy to push it up that high, and so a lot of times you'll get like a squatty tree with a wide canopy. But yeah, I hope that helps. Wayne, let me know if we can get on a Zoom chat and we can, like I said, we can just take a look at it in person and figure out a good game plan moving forward. But a lot of times you can actually prune it to start to structurally train it as well. And so that may be a good idea with an October Glory. 5 years, yeah, 5 years in the ground about a foot and a half per year. That's pretty good growth rate. But yeah, let me know if we can help. I'd be happy to jump on a digital arborist consultation with you. Figure it out. Why does my purple shades tree have a lot of small branches in the middle, no bigger than a pencil, look dead and alive, and no blooms on the inner tree? I don't know. That one we're definitely going to have to take a look at in person. So I'll give you the same link. Try to drop some photos in here if you can. Maybe we can answer it. But yay, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Y'all been so patient. We've been at this an hour and 50 minutes now. So another day at the office, y'all. All right, so we are almost to 1,000. Let me refresh this. We may be at 1,000 by now. Oh, well, sometimes it approves automatically. It approves, not improves. Face webs ain't even working right now. Hello, McFly, Bueller. $999. This is crazy. We're about to hit 1,000, but probably by the night's end. Y'all are awesome. Okay, so 17-month-old dog. 17-month-old? That's just a puppy dog. Chewed the bark off my maple tree in an approximately 1 foot section. We moved here a year ago and he hates the squirrels that climb the tree. Is there a type of fencing I can place around the tree? Yeah, electric fence. That'll keep the squirrels off too. Do I need to paint a coating on it? How can I best protect it? Thank you in advance. No, just train the dog not to do it. Yeah, Robert's absolutely correct. It will seal naturally. You do not want to paint it. Yep, don't. Trees don't heal the way animals do. They will just seal over a wound with new xylem and phloem. If given enough time, no need to cover it with anything. Wholeheartedly agree. Yep, great advice, you guys. Thanks for doing my job for me. I really appreciate that. Y'all are awesome, both you, Christine and Robert. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this group as well. Y'all are great contributors. Ooh, that's a good point. As Bjorn, sorry if I'm pronouncing. Oh, from Denmark. What's up, all the way around the world? Hi, everyone. Earlier today, a large limb unexpectedly fell from a mature ash tree over 60 years old. That's so cool. Oh, that's a beautiful ash tree, too. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Man, I wish we had cool ash trees in America like y'all do over in Denmark. And just everything is beautiful. That's a gorgeous yard. Yeah, summer. Somebody mentioned summer. Yeah, it is a beautiful tree. I agree. Hello. This is getting ridiculous. I'm gonna have to fix all this before we go online next time. May have been summer sudden limb drop. Look it up. Yeah, probably. It looks like some decay, but nothing out of the ordinary. You might want to get a good qualified arborist. And Denmark's got some really top-notch guys out there, by the way. Looks healthy overall, full canopy. Yeah, I think that was probably just like sudden limb drop, some sudden summer limb drop. Basically, it's just as the tree gets hot and it becomes weaker, they just drop sometimes, and you'll get those break points that shear off like that. So pretty normal. I don't see any big problems. I don't see any bugs or fungus or anything that I'd be worried about. You got a little bit of decay that entered here. Let's take a look at this closer. This is a really good use case. So if you see here, this is where it broke. All right. So you had a limb break here or was pruned off. decay entered, the tree didn't compartmentalize it well, and that happens to be where it exactly broke. I'm wondering if that's what started that, but it sounds like it's happening more than once. Asbjorn, am I pronouncing that right? That's, you got a great name too, like over here in America at least. It's a cool name. Although it rained earlier in the day. Yeah, so what happens is they dry out and then you get an extra rain and then it gets heavy and the tree's not used to it and it just breaks like that. Yeah. Signs of structural failure or simply just the natural cycle or renewal. Yeah, I think it'd be good to have somebody take a look at it a little closer, maybe do some structural pruning. You've got a little bit of decay that entered there, but I don't see anything that's that really concerning. And fortunately, there's not a lot. If it does break, there's not a lot that would be severely damaged. But yeah, I think Jeremy's right. You probably got some summer sudden limb drop. Pretty normal. It does happen. It's not ideal, but trees typically have the ability to compartmentalize and seal around it. So just the natural cycle, I would assume, with a little bit of extra decay entering there. I'm wondering where that limb came from. If it was a natural break point or if it was a pruning wound that somebody did. It does look like it tried to seal, but then that decay entered, and here we are looking at a broken limb on the ground. So hope that helps, man. Moving on. Tree on the property we're renting suddenly fell today. Sounds like it's not your problem. It has not been looking good this year at all. Surprisingly, it looks like it has almost no roots. Does look like the work of gophers or something else. No, those are roots. Those are normal. Let's take a little closer look. There is a gopher problem in the yard. Yeah, they could chew it then, but no, I don't think that's gopher. I think that's poor soil. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so see that bulge on this root here is, to me, that looks like you've had a lot of root problem. There was a girdling root here that caused the roots to grow this direction and down, but it didn't really form a full root flare. Really common, stinks when it happens, but yeah, all those wood grains are growing this direction. That's not a gopher problem. That's a really bad root problem that happened years and years and years and years and years ago. And you could see the tree even tried to put out some runners that came across the opposite direction to oppose the lean. But that's a girdling root, like just textbook. No, that was not a gopher problem. I don't think that was a very poor root system, and that happened probably from when the tree was planted, honestly. So I'm really sorry that happened. That stinks, but yeah, not a lot you can do about that, unfortunately. So hope that helps, and yeah, get your landlord to get over there and clean it up on their time. That's not your problem. All right, so Nick's asking, what can I do about these sagging walnut branches? Do I just cut the main branch back, or do I cut the smaller branches off the main branch? Yeah, great question. I love questions like this because you're not going and hack chopping and slicing and ruining your tree. You're asking and making sure you're doing it right. One more. We're almost there, you guys. We did it. All right. Oh, yeah. Those black walnuts get so heavy. Oh, man, look at that. That's a great question because you got a lot of tree here and not a lot of room to grow with that little building there. So so in answer to your question, long story short, you've got a lot of weight on that branch. It looks like it might have fractured a little bit, probably from the excess weight, maybe from a storm, something like that. And you got some sort of fungus eating that. I don't know what that is, but yeah, here's what I would do. And let me pull up the big screen because this is a fun one to go over. All right, so we got a tree and you got a branch and it's coming out and it's just bowing down and then it branches off into multiples right here. So I think somebody topped that limb at some point. It's no good. Don't do that. Don't top limbs. Very bad. No good, very bad thing. What you can do maybe is to remove some of these lower limbs and maybe find some on these uppers that you can reduce it back to. See if that'll help spring it up. But what you don't want to do is what somebody else did before, which is just come in and cut it off. And that's very bad. Because what will happen is the exact same thing will happen. You'll get a multitude of sprouts coming from that one point, and it's just going to just the same problem over and over again. So yeah, somebody topped that walnut years ago, and Now we're dealing with the consequences. So not great, but it is what it is. And yeah, maybe you could try to prune those off. What you want to start doing is establishing the permanent structure. So if that limb ultimately is going to be a big problem growing into that little building there, it may be best just to prune it off. But you want to avoid that if possible. If you could do the smaller stuff, at least for now, let the tree catch up and fill in, then I think you'd be doing much better than just coming and hack, chopping, and slicing limbs off. That's no good. If you can avoid it anyways. So hope that helps, Nick. We got our last question. Yes. Y'all, I'm exhausted from these things, but I'm so glad we do this. I get to hang out with you guys. This is so fun for me. So, all right. So Mango 870's got trees. Where are you from, Mango? I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to expose you there, Mango. Our trees are getting a white fungus on them. One is a pine, the other is crepe myrtle. I think fungus might be on many more of our trees. Can anything be done to save them? If so, which products are best to save them? This looks like fungus. This does not look like fungus. That's crepe myrtle scale. That's a tough one, actually, because what you've got to do is you've got to get the medicine systemic. So what the little bugs do is they're basically feeding on, I'm going to do a blowed up version of these. So they've got, here's your branch. I'm going to do a really big version of a scale. You got a scale. They got little feet here that they move around. They got a little mouth part here that they pierce into and suck the life out of the tree. What this is on the backside, though, that white that you're seeing, we call it biobarrier. It's basically a shield against everything you can hit it with. So what you've got to do, look, here's your tree. You've got to get medicine either into the trunk here, if you can see that, or through the roots. Somehow to where medicine goes in the tree, bug eats the medicine, bug unalives, right? That's going to be the key to that one. The crepe myrtle scale is a real tricky one. I'll be honest, you may be better off removing that one particular, where are we? There we go. Maybe better off removing that one particular limb because that is an infestation. Get that and burn it because those guys are really nasty. We found crepe myrtle scale in Richardson, Texas. That was ground zero like 15 years ago. Yeah, biofilm. Yep. Biofilm is awesome when your body's making it. It's terrible when all the pathogens are making it. My wife and I have Lyme disease, and that's why it's so hard to kill. Unalive, excuse me, is because it is it produces a biofilm. Yeah, very hard to get rid of in every space. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a big pain. We have, like I said, we have Lyme disease, and essentially the problem is they go into cyst form. Where they've got a 2-year life cycle, which is very rare for a spirochete or pathogen of any sort. And so normal diseases you hit with antibiotics for 10 days. Well, the reason is because they have a 30-minute life cycle, a lot of them. And the problem with Lyme disease, they got a 2-year life cycle. So a 2-week or 2-year, I don't know. It's a long time. And so they basically go into dormancy and they hide in this little cyst form and they put a biofilm around them. And you have to have enzymes to break it down. Otherwise, all of the medicine you throw at it is going to do nothing. It's just going to bounce off that shield, and the critter is going to come in with a vengeance. But in reference to your problem here, I would get rid of that branch because that looks like a root sucker that is just not there for any real reason anyways. And you got a big old infestation of those crepe myrtle scale on them. So what they're going to do is lay eggs, and then in the winter, the eggs will overwinter, and then in the spring, the young will come out in crawler form, and they can move. Those white dots, they can't move. That's why you're probably thinking it's fungus, is because they can't move. But crawler form, when they're in their infant stage in the nymph phase, they will move. That's when you got to hit them with the medicine, or you've got to get it systemic into the plant through the roots or through the trunk. That's the only way to get to them. But honestly, I think a big part of your problem is going to go away if you just get rid of that one branch. So that's the big thing there. You had one other picture. That is definitely a fungus. And I'll be honest, I don't have enough information to go off of. I don't know what that is. I don't know what kind of tree that is. Almost looks like a wasichi tree like we have here. Or maybe a desert willow, but I really don't know, to be honest, Mango. I'm sorry. I wish I had better news for you. But if you want, I'm always happy to get on a digital arborist consultation, and like I said, we could do that from anywhere in the world and really get a good idea of what's going on. But crepe myrtle scale on the one, and unidentified fungal pathogen. But I'll tell you what, ultimately, even if we do get on the Zoom chat, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you to this page. But ultimately, that may only give you the diagnosis. It may not give you the source of the problem. The source of the problem being tree got stressed, allowed the fungal pathogen to come in and take over. So anyways, that is it. We did it. Nobody unalived. I'm so tired, you guys. Man, what a night. They all had some great questions tonight. And again, we did this as just a great resource for you guys to have pretty much easy access to some of the best arborists out there. I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I'm saying that because we really are getting some top-notch arborists out there that are really coming in and being awesome about answering y'all's questions. And it's been really fun for me to see and be able to help some folks out. Again, we've had some great success stories, a few trees that were unfortunately condemned. Oh, you're very welcome, JK. Yeah, my pleasure. That they came in, removed the trees, and it turned out they were extremely structurally decrepit. And again, we wanted to showcase this too as a resource for you, because realistically, we actually can tell what's going on remotely. And for whatever reason, my industry is very slow to come around with technology. But that's why our Arborist on Demand exists, is because, if you want a third-party opinion on a tree problem, every tree guy out there has a product or a service to sell you. We don't. We want to be that objective third-party resource that you can trust to basically get the answers you need with your trees. So we do it all the time from all over the world. We had somebody from Denmark today come in, and again, we were able to answer your question, or at least get to a good place starting point wise, and get you pointing in the right direction. And yeah, it's very possible, very feasible. If the medical world can do it, why can't we as arborists be able to go on and help people out remotely? So, hey, thank you guys so much for joining again. Hit that like and share button on this post. Oh, not this post. That's my wife's post. But those are the rules. Go through that. It's very important that you check out the rules before posting. That gives us a much better shot of being able to give you the answers that you need. But again, we are like one away, you guys, from 1,000 members on this channel. I'm going to go to bed and probably wake up to 1,000 members and give you a big celebration post. But we're going to celebrate by giving you guys some really cool stuff. For example, we've got some... the first prize is going to get a 30-minute digital arborist consultation with me. Basically, we're going to go through and just for free look at your trees individually and be able to tell you what's going on with them and how to best manage them. Even if you don't have problems, it's great to just have an expert set of eyes to look at them and be able to tell you, hey, if these were my trees, this is how I would address them and how I would manage them, and really just get you going in the right direction. The second prize, we got a tree health starter kit. Basically, bottle of Microlife Super Seaweed. That's this stuff, I think. Where are you? Super Seaweed, where'd you go? Here we go. It's a bottle of this stuff. It's about a $35 value, $32, and then plus shipping is free. That's on me. But basically, this is like just super seaweed. It's a super organic biostimulant and organic fertilizer. It's got all sorts of macro and micronutrients embedded in it, some molasses, humates, fish extract, all the essentials for essentially healthy growing plants, and really great stuff. I don't make it. I don't really get paid on it or make a lot of money on these things, but it's a really great resource. And we're giving away a bottle of that along with a moisture meter and some other great resources for our second prize. And for our third prize, we're giving away another bottle of the Super Seaweed. So love to have you guys enjoy that and really help take care of your plants and your trees with them. Basically, we're going to close off next Tuesday. But for now, like this post. You can share it. Look at it. Check it out. Dogwood, Star Tree of Virginia. My mother planted several, and they are beautiful. Look at that gorgeous tree, you guys. That's so cool. That is so cool. So yeah, go on there, share your favorite picture. I posted mine. It's a Quercus macrocarpa. That's me climbing in it there in the 2013 Texas Tree Climbing Championship. Back when I could actually climb trees really effective. Difference between the seaweed and the molasses. They both have molasses. The Super Seaweed has less molasses, but other great things, JK. So like I said, some fish emulsion, some extra amino acids, and some molasses, humates. But it's really its concentration is a higher level of seaweed, which is going to provide more macro and micronutrients and acts as a root stimulant. So hope that helped. But yeah, that's the main difference. Is it just has extra seaweed. The molasses is great. The plant and soil energy that they sell, and Microlife makes a specific molasses as well. But anyways, yeah, getting back to the post. Yeah, go on there and like it. That'll get you an entry. And then we're gonna do a drawing next Thursday. We're closing it off Tuesday night at midnight, right here. And we'll be announcing next Thursday on our live stream. We'll do a cool little, I got a little spinny wheel. All your entries are going to go towards just giving you that much more of a chance. We'll click the button, see who wins, and give these prizes away. So thank you guys again so much for being here and being a part of this community. And for all the arborists out there that are commenting on here and helping answer these questions, guys, we love you guys. And y'all just keep it up. Just keep growing this community. And we're ultimate. I'll tell you, I got some bias in this too, guys. I don't like my industry. I love what I do and I hate my industry. We're too far behind. Guys, they just think they're little know-it-alls and like, I can do anything. And a bunch of narcissists that just never read a book. And so what I want to do is just take our industry to the next level. And this is just one way that we do that is we're educating you guys. And again, we're seeing some of you as our followers come in and answer questions too. And I just love that because y'all are little tree evangelists out there just spreading the good news about how to take care of trees properly. And I found that my industry is not going to do what we need to educate good people like you that own trees, that love trees and live around trees. They're just not going to do it. We've been trying for years to get the powers that be, I can't say their names, of course, to get out there and really promote proper tree care. Oh, you're very welcome, JK. Love having you here too. Thanks for being a part of this. You're always asking great questions too. So keep it up. I'd love to have you next week as well. But yeah, one way that I've found that really makes a difference, and I watched it happen in Dallas, Texas. Bunch of us tree nuts went out there and we just started setting the standard right. We started doing proper tree care and really pushed proper arboriculture. And what we found was that in about 10 years, it was a different landscape, literally and metaphorically, in the tree care industry in Dallas. Right now in Houston, by the way, there's about one BCMA RCA. That's me. There are about 6 BCMAs, and I'm the only registered consulting arborist. In Dallas, where I was, and I'm not saying this isn't all me, I didn't do this. This was a whole community of us arborists that got together and we formed groups. We went out to the field and we picked the biggest, baddest tree we can find and we climbed and raced to the top. And we taught these young bucks how to climb trees and do it safely so they don't wind up coming with their wives, widows, and all that, and like are broken and permanently altered. Like these things are no good. So we go out there and we teach these guys and we start talking about the pruning methods and we start talking about the plant health care. And all of a sudden, the next thing we know, right now, there are 6 guys who are BCMA RCAs in Dallas, which is about the quarter of Houston. So we're hoping to do the same thing here in Houston before I have to leave, which may be sooner than later. We've had some toxic mold in our homes, but anyways, that's my problem, not yours. But what we want to do is help you guys to know more so you can go out and tell all your friends and we can have just a better overall landscape. Because like I said, trees are important for humans and it's really important that we take care of them properly. Otherwise, they just give us problems. So again, thanks so much for joining us and we'll see you next week. Later.